Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mikhail, and I'm glad to welcome you to the evening analytical show, Leaders, Letters. Today we have a very interesting and unusual topic suggested by Professor Kabve from Kyonhee University, Russian leadership. Ahead, there are a lot of guests waiting to discuss topic with us, but first, let's define what Russian leadership is. Leadership development is currently being given a considerable attention due to the fact that leader qualities are so unique and diverse, but most importantly, needed for effective management. For Russia, this topic is really relevant, since the need to establish leadership is linked to the process of globalization. Now, I would like to talk more detailedly with our first invited expert. Please welcome Professor of Leadership Sciences, Dr. Sergey Silent. Hello, Sergey.
Hello, Mikhail.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm glad that you are here. Please tell us about Russian leadership. Some characteristics, details, highlights.
So, first of all, I would like to say that I'm very pleased to be a guest today. Answering your question, there has been little attention paid to leadership qualities in Russia. But nowadays, in the era of globalization and expanding of social and cultural ties, our country needs not only to remain its current position, but also to comprehend new peaks.
Oh, thank you, Sergey. It was very interesting. I know that you're a busy person, so if you allow, just one last question. Tell us, please, if there is something that played a special role in the process of formation of Russian leadership. Is it true that mentality played an important role?
Yes, Mikhail, you are right. The mentality has played a very important role in the process of formation of Russian leadership. And right now, more attention is paid to peculiarities of national character in Russian management model, which reflects the identity of the country at the world level. Under the consequence of constant changes in the country for many years, the mentality of Russian people, absolutely incomparable with any others, has been formed and continues to form. As a consequence, this is the main source of special features in leading people with special mentality.
Okay, thank you, Sergey.
Thank
And
you.
I would like to remind you that today our guest was Sergey Silent, Professor of Leadership. Okay, moving on. Let's talk more about mentality as the main element dictating characteristics of leadership. The mentality of each country is completely different. Therefore, leadership characteristics. Everyone can distinguish German punctuality, American pragmatism, English conservatism, and undoubtedly Russian paternalism, as well as benevolence, but at the same time, negligence. It seems to me that we have a new difficult term vital for understanding of everything that has been mentioned above. It means that now it is time for our rubric Definition Time.
Paternalism is an action limiting a person's or group's liberty or autonomy, which is intended to promote their own good. Can also imply that the behavior is against or regardless of the will of a person, or also that the behavior expresses an attitude of superiority.
On the basis of Russian paternalistic traditions, the old Russian leadership style was established, the main features of which was imposition of ideas and corresponding decision-making for other people. Nowadays, foreign specialists in the field of leadership describe paternalism existing in Russian business in following words. If the leaders try to explain something to you, they are not very patient. They just say that this should be done. Just complete the task, otherwise they will delegate another person. The main issue in Russia nowadays is that initiative is usually punishable. If you will step out, you can be in trouble. I propose to discuss this and other issues with the heads of 4 Russian business giants. But first, let's stop for the weather forecast. For the Russian leadership forecast.
For those of you who ran business in Russia in past days, I don't need to explain that situation with leadership was unclear. We can see a lack of empowerment and orientations toward the future. The temperature is getting low when considering employee motivation. I'm really glad that I didn't work in those old-fashioned companies. For those of you who are planning business activities for tomorrow, you can expect the team building front to move southwest. Moreover, Modern Russian leaders are going to change their attitude concerning employees' personal issues. What means you don't need to wear your raincoat anymore to hide your feelings and emotions from your boss. Furthermore, the pressure of competition will continue to grow. As a consequence, the increase in orientation toward the result is expected, as well as increase in orientation toward the future. This was Russian Leadership Forecast. Remember, be ethical and treat your employees well in order not to make your business ill. Bye!
So, let's move on to the next part of our program. Today we have a direct video connection with Moscow, with heads of 4 major companies in the fields of retail, banking, media and telecommunications. Hello colleagues!
Hello. Hello, Mikhail.
I would like to hear from you in a format of small monologues about leadership style in your companies. Probably you can reveal some secrets or highlight some issues. Let's start with Andrew. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, hello, Mikhail. My name is Andrei Dubovskov, and I'm a managing director of MTS, one of the biggest companies in telecommunication market nowadays, and today I would like to tell you about leadership in our company. MTS pays a huge attention to leadership development, and we have several programs for our employees to develop leadership qualities. For example, Academy of Success, set up for regional directors and their successors, and a unique program of MTS, Leaders DNA, aimed at developing key executives. The leadership culture of our company is reflected in our slogan, "One step ahead." Talking about series that form the basis for our programs, we can state several of them. For example, situational approach and approach of supportive leadership, which means in any possible way to help employees develop personally and improve their efficiency and productivity. Summarizing all stated above, we can say that leadership style of our company is, of course, democratic. Talking about leadership grid, it is a team leader, and a leadership model of our company is delegating.
Thank you, Andrew. And now let's give a word to the head of Russian biggest bank, Sberbank. German, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Mikhail. It's a pleasure for me to tell you some interesting facts about leadership in Sberbank. All main activities of the company are based on 3 major guidelines. I am a leader, we are the team, and all for the clients. Under the guidelines we are the team lies the realization of corporate leadership. Under the term leadership in our company, we understand the readiness to assume responsibility, constant development and perfection. The management of the company emphasizes that leadership should be realized at all levels of organization. Our task is to ensure that employees are leaders and active participants of improvement and development of any bank's work, regardless of their position. The main task of the bank is to work for mutual results in cohesive teams and to help their colleagues grow and develop. Talking about some programs for leadership development in the company, there are plenty of them, from different business games to seminars of West. It's indisputable that the company management applies democratic style of leadership. Sberbank adheres to team leader, and the model of leadership is democratic one.
Thank you, German. And now, before we will continue, let's have a commercial break.
I was a very successful businessman in the short run, but when my firm grew, I lost ability to lead and motivate my employees. And look at me now, I'm homeless, I'm bankrupt. If you don't want to finish like me, you'd better call Joseph Capway. Thank you.
I was rather an ethical leader and sometimes broke the law during my path to success. Actually, nobody told me how to behave myself in order to be ethical.
Hello, my name is Detective Dukalis, and you are arrested for bribing authorities.
Oh God! If you don't want to finish like me, you'd better call Joseph Cobway.
Call Joseph Cobway in order not to make their mistakes and take your business to the next level.
Welcome back. As you remember, we finished with German. Now let's give a floor to my friend who will tell you about leadership in the company called Magnet, one of the biggest Russian retailers. Sergey, the floor is yours.
Hello, Mikhail. My name is Sergey Galitsky and I'm a general manager in the company called Magnet. And today I'm ready to tell you some interesting facts about leadership in our company. Personally, I believe that the majority of successful leadership has inborn qualities that other people cannot achieve. And only 3 to 4% of ordinary people have a gift of a top manager or a leader. The key qualities I think the leader should definitely have are the willingness to learn, of course, the open mind and the energy. In our company, me and other employees always try to create a mild climate for our employees, so that they can feel themselves inside the company as a family. In addition, in the last survey, we have identified the opinions of all of employees of our company. All employees are sure that the leader in the company, me, demonstrates a soft attitude towards all employees, tries to involve them and all subordinates to discussions about the company's strategies and important matters, and leaves the right to make mistakes and make decisions. I want to emphasize that since a lot of employees are willing to work extra, I think that my leadership style was chosen correctly. So the foregoing, I can say that the following about the leadership in my company. The style is of course democratic. It is trying to be oriented on equally high degrees of tasks and relations, but so far it is not achieved. Therefore, considering leadership grade, the company is middle of the road and the leadership model of the company is participating.
Thank you, Sergey. And now, last but not the least, the head of biggest sport media in Russia, the youngest chief editor in the history of sport media in Russia, Yuri Dud. Hello, Yuri. How are you today? Can you tell us about leadership in sports.ru?
Hello, Mikhail. All good. We are proud that in our company we have a perfect democratic style of leadership. We have a rule that every employee are equal to each other, no matter of their age or position. Of course, no rudeness is allowed. We have an absolute level of subordination, which allows us to delegate some important tasks to less experienced employees that occupy not so high positions. As a result, we have maximum efficiency and non-standard approach, which is really important for a company working in a media sphere. Moreover, our concept is following. We have really small number of regular staff and more freelancers, scattering throughout Russia and all over the world. It is important for us to listen and take into account opinions of every person somehow connected to our company. Our tasks also is, with which we have successfully coped, is to build a leadership environment in which employees has a maximum level of freedom, in the meantime having maximum level of responsibilities. Thus, we do not shackle people in some frameworks which help them to develop and to develop sports.ru. Considering all stated above, the leadership style of our company is democratic, of course. talking about leadership grid, our company is a team leader and leadership model is participating.
Thank you, Yuri.
Thank you.
I believe it was really educational, and I would like to thank all our speakers. I really appreciate you being with us today. I hope now our audience can completely understand what is the situation in Russian companies. And now, let's move to our permanent rubric, which is called Stereotype Destruction.
Today, we would like to talk about some stereotypes in Russian leadership. There are plenty of those, but only some of them still exist in nowadays life. First one is that Russians live beyond the law, and some leaders encourage their employees to violate the law. Of course, nowadays this is not true. Yes, there are some people that live beyond the law, sometimes break it, give and take bribes, and get away from taxes, but that is not a usual practice as it used to be in 90s. Most of Russian businessmen and leaders are trying to behave themselves in a correct and lawful way in all of their deals and everyday life. Secondly, the ordinary employee cannot take a high position in the company without good connections or relations. Yes, this problem still exists, but only partially. In most of internationalized and high competitive companies, this is not true, because they are striving to hire most professional employees and sometimes promising students. But in the middle and small companies, this problem still exists, and it is much easier for a person who has good connections in these organizations to get a job than for a person who is more professional but has less connections. And the last stereotype for today is total control over all operations. As in Russian companies, the problem of corruption at various levels of organization remains urgent. Leaders in some of the companies remains total control. Such practices hinder decentralization and the delegation of authorities, which is necessary for leadership development. Nevertheless, in most of companies that are more innovative and internationalized, this problem does not exist. Because the leader tries to be more democratic and give freedom to his employees. Overall, we can state that these stereotypes about Russian leadership is a bit outdated. Yes, some problems still exist, but they are getting better because Russian leaders are gaining more knowledge and develop their professional leader skills.
Summing up everything that was stated about Russian leadership today, we would like to mention that most of the leaders in our countries nowadays want to gain more effective and unique skills to move their leadership style from authoritarian to more democratic and transformational one. This is it for today. Thank you for being with us.